Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
What's up, y'all? It's Sivonnia DeBarros, the protector of athletes, and welcome to the special series called the NIL Combined Speaker Series. What you can expect from this series is to hear from dynamic speakers, professionals, and experts who are eager to support student athletes and help us to create a major impact off the field with name, image, and likeness. That's right, NIL. Hey, if you want to be a part of the conversation and if you want to be a part of making this amazing impact, join us on July 27th through the 29th in Chicago by registering at bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023, bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023. Again, that's bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023. And make sure that NIL Combine is in all caps. I'll see you there. Ciao. Hello there. I am Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes, and I'm so excited to come back again for another episode of the speaker interview series, a part of the NIL Combine Live 2023 event. So, y'all, I'm super excited. There's been some definite ups and downs, and Vineetha could probably tell y'all about that, but it is definitely a labor of purpose. Yeah, I think this is a labor of purpose for sure. So, look, if you have not gotten your tickets, don't keep waiting, because we want to make sure that you have the ability to get in the room with individuals who are experts in their craft, who can help you drive yourself a lot closer to your goals. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, make sure that you go and do that. Secure your ticket right now at the NIL Combine Live. You can go to bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023, bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023. And again, that is bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023. And listen, student athletes, I've already made this promise. It's not going to go away, but if you want help, you got to take action. And that's something y'all already do, right? I'm a former athlete. That's a characteristic that I love about us. I'm going to say us. Yeah, I'm old out here a little bit. But still, I do know that athletes have the tendency to get up and move and make some things happen. And it's the exact same thing with name, image, and likeness. If you're trying to monetize, leverage, or protect your NIL in any kind of way, you want to be one of the top 50 that register. Go in an RSVP right now. You don't have to put in a credit card or anything, but the first 50, virtual or in person, that registers and attends all 3 days will be invited to a legal panel, technically a legal clinic. All right, legal clinic. And it's something where you can come and get your questions answered about your contracts, about NIL period, how you want to leverage it, any protection issues that may come up, branding, for example. So you need to be in the room. Don't sleep on it. Go to bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023, bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023, and make sure that NIL Combine is in all caps. Student athletes, all you have to do is navigate to your section where it says student athletes. All right. Navigate to your section. All right. So look, I have another phenomenal business owner, an expert, and speaker of NIL Combine. It is none other than Miss Vineetha Kommareddi. Hope I'm pronouncing that last name right, because I love your name. But Vineetha is not a stranger to NIL Combine. So if you don't know who she is, let me tell you a little bit about her. She owns a marketing firm. She is the CEO of Victor Kilo. And she has technically, like, her business is a marketing, digital media, and business operations branding system. Like she does like all things branding inside of Victor Kilo, which is amazing. But she brings her strategic branding acumen to help athletes, personal brands, and businesses achieve their next level. She has over 16 years of agency, traditional media, and events experience with complement a perfect brand storm to appeal the senses. Now, I already told y'all that she's the CEO of her business and she leads a fearless and creative team. I know this to be true, who constantly push the limits in design, web development, and social media. Vineetha, welcome to NIL Combine Speaker Interview Series. And again, welcome back as an NIL Combine speaker, period.
Well, yeah, thank you for this warm welcome. Amazing introduction. So very, very honored and humbled to be here and also be the second annual NIL Combine sponsor. We're very, very excited. We believe in the brand. We believe in the cause of NIL Combine and the value it brings to student athletes, parents of student athletes, as well as allies, athletic directors, myself, yourself, protector of athletes. So it's an amazing, amazing event. And we're very excited to be a sponsor again. And I'm very excited to be here today.
I love that. So let's start with this because I'm definitely happy to have you. And let me just take a quick pause and say this, young ladies and men out there. I always talk about relationships, and I met Vineetha at another event,
Yep.
and we just bonded on each other, right? And we've been cultivating and building a relationship and helping each other out and supporting each other. So it's so important to take care of your relationships. Like when there are people that you really mesh with, how can you cultivate that relationship? Because it can support you, right? It can support you, especially if your vision and your missions are similar in a way and you want to serve a similar audience. You're able to put your manpower together to serve that audience, right? So Vineetha, she was a panelist last year. She was a sponsor last year, and she's returning this year as a keynote speaker, and she's still sponsoring the event. All right. So, what brought you back? Well, first, let me say this: what brought you to the first one, and why did you return for the second one?
Yeah, and I think you hit what you said is, we met at a networking event, and we part of what I'm going to be talking about this year is building a brand, and part of building a brand is authenticity. And I found you to be a very authentic person, and just very passionate in sports and athletes and protecting brands and their brands. And so for me, it's you're going to attract the people that you want to grow with, as well as be able to learn from. So for me, I think, it's been an amazing few years, for us as a networking opportunity, as well as helping each other in different events and our businesses as well. So for me, what brought me back this year, last year, why I was interested is because, we are building a foundation for the same thing that we believe in, is building a foundation to help people. And here it's the student athletes and their allies. And in branding and marketing, we're helping people and businesses and brands grow. So in turn, why not? Like, let's do this, and it's the common cause.
That's real. And you know what? We're actually on year 3. So a lot of people, NIL Combine, the name, right, is newer, but you've been in this thing with me from jump. So we're working on year 3. Exactly. We're working on year 3. Year 1 was our book launch, Athletes Making Moves, about name, image, and likeness. And Vineetha and her business and her team were still very much a part of that effort. All right. So y'all, that's what I'm talking about. It's all about, a lot of it is, half of the battle is about relationships. And Vineetha, know, like, just even creating this brand has its own battles, its ups and downs, but also its rewarding parts. But it's also an equal, how do I want to phrase it? It's something that we both have a passion around, right? The audience around it. So let's talk about branding, the thing that's bringing you back so that you can allow your expertise to shine. And I'm so excited for people to see you because, I mean, you are a genius in what you do. Your business is absolutely beautiful, extremely successful, and you've been able to work with some top brands in the sports industry. So, why is branding important, and why should student athletes come and listen to you at NIL Combine?
Yeah, I think when people think of branding, the first thing that comes to mind is Nike, Apple, right? All these sports, big brands. Then we go into team sports. What is their logo? What team are you affiliated with? I think what's lost when people think about branding is who are you? What's your story? What do you believe in? What impact do you want to make? What is your value? And so in turn, helping student athletes realize what their story is, how they want to make an impact, now, short term, long term, when they become professional athletes. It's something that's already foundational to them, but it's, I'm really excited to be a part of the integral process of discovering what that is and having them grow into their authentic self. I know when I was in high school, we're high school, we're teenagers. What is their identity, right? Like we want to be like our friends, but we want to try something else. And, do I want to do this? Do I want to go to college? Do I want to try a sport? Who am I? We're as teenagers, we've gone through that, and we understand that. So I think it's very valuable for the student athletes to realize that and have resources like us to leverage and go to and ask these valuable questions and to help them through that process. Now, athletes have a very different mindset, right? And myself, like I love playing sports. I'm more of a recreational athlete, right? Not a professional or a student athlete by any means, but I do appreciate the art of sport. And so athletes have a very different mindset of, getting up early every day, getting to practice, really honing in on, what is their specialty? What do they need to work on? Shaving off 0.1 second off their time, to the tenths, hundredths of a second, right? To break a record. So really, putting in that work, they're already doing it, right? And so I think from branding perspective, when we're thinking about, professional athletes who are making millions of dollars and having endorsements, what is the foundation? How do we get that information to the student athletes? So if that is the route and journey they want to achieve and go through, then that's what we're here to help with.
Yeah, that is really good. That is really good. And
Mm-hmm.
and you already said this, like branding is also part of your identity. And I think we're always growing in our identity and how it aligns with our brands. And, I had a very difficult decision to make recently,
Yeah.
but that was something I had to think about. I had to think about, if I make this decision, is it aligned with who I believe that I am and the brand that I'm creating? And I don't think a lot of younger individuals, athletes or not, I don't think they're really thinking about it. I think they look at what is the opportunity short term, but not whether it is fully aligned with who they are.
And nowadays it's, we are so reliant, or even finding that information
Mm-hmm.
in a millisecond, right? On our phones, on our computers, Google, right?
Mm-hmm.
Social media. So all of that is very much easily accessible to anyone. It could be a scout, it could be a future coach, it could be a future employer. So anything that's really being posted or, documented, somebody could just be nearby and documenting you.
Yeah.
And you can't stop that from being posted on to the web or social media. So, but absolutely, it's, we're, as humans, we're always thinking about, short term, but as humans, we're also conditioned to think about long-term impact as well. So again, understanding what that looks like. And I know we've been through a journey together recently about branding, personal, value, short and long-term impact. So yeah, I think that's something that student athletes, digitally accessible, right? That is their front of mind. That is their culture. Making that be more of a something that works for them versus against them.
Absolutely. And I think case in point, there was an article that was released recently about Ja Morant, an NBA star, who is now suspended, right? So he's possibly going to be losing, 50 million or more just for making bad decisions that already have an impact on his brand, right? It's already taking effect. And so we definitely don't want our student athletes to engage in certain conduct and decisions that could ruin their brand long term. So I'm excited to have you come and talk about the importance of branding and why student athletes need it, and even those professionals in the room that might be supporting student athletes around branding. So with that, what do you hope they really take away from your session?
Yeah, I think there's going to be information overload, right? We have a lot of experts from legal, finance, business owners, former athletes, that there's going to be a lot of information overload. So all I can tell them coming into this year's NIL Combine is be open-minded, ask a lot of questions. There is no wrong question. This is for you. And so don't be shy to ask those questions. And that's going to form that type of conversation, right? And yes, we might have a presentation, I know I have a few things, but those are helping talking points of helping you explore what you may not have already thought of and what is actually available. What is the trend in marketing right now? That is a resource. That is something I am arming you with, so this, right? So I really want student athletes to take away from this is coming in, asking a lot of questions, keep an open mind. There's going to be a lot of information, but walking away with, wow, I feel good about this. I learned things that I didn't know that I should be considering and thinking about, as well as I made friends, I made networking opportunities. I've met people and resources that are going to help me in a long run, and I want to make sure that I can keep in touch with them. So again, we're here to be as a resource, and I want them to walk away feeling really, really excited about it.
And I'm going to say this because y'all may not know Vineetha, but Vineetha be doing some real heavy stuff, right? So the people that she be working with are some major people and organizations, and it's good to also have that inside knowledge of what it takes to create proper branding and branding that really communicates the mission and the purpose to a target audience, people who can stay engaged, whether it's fan based or it's a customer. You really gotta take control of your branding. And it's something that, like I said before, I'm always learning and fine tuning. It definitely is a decision to commit yourself, to long term, because I don't think branding ever ends. You have to continue on a journey as you grow, as you discover new things about yourself, as you continue to niche into different areas. Branding is always a part of that that formula, right? So, or that equation. Are there any parting words you would like to provide to student athletes or parents that might be in the room, coaches that might be in the room? Let it rip.
Let it rip.
Let it rip.
Well, we keep saying we're talking about student athletes, right? We also want to make sure that we address that we're a resource for parents. I know that is something that we aren't talking about. That is not what's being talked about in the industry of how do parents navigate NIL endorsements, and kind of this journey with their student athlete. And so, this is a valuable resource for them as well. And last year we had a panel of parents and parents who attended that asked really great questions of, this is what I'm encountering with my student athletes. How can you help? And so those are great questions that we want to make sure that are answered here as well, and that we grow that genre for our parents. Athletic directors, they're so focused in developing their student athletes. They're out on the field, on and off the field. They are great and doing a very important job. But also we're here as a resource, right? So again, they are not expected to be marketing or branding or legal or finance experts. They are navigating and helping this athlete be an athlete and be a better athlete, and being that resource on a daily basis, as well as coaches and staff, right, on and off the field. So really want to make sure, if you're in the sport industry, this is a great event, right? It could be it's directed to student athletes navigating NIL, but if you're a professional athlete, how are you encountering NIL? That's at a different level. So we want to make sure that we're a resource for everyone. Everyone comes with a different experience, story, value. So really coming in open-minded and learning all of that and getting your questions answered.
Really good. I totally agree. And I think sometimes a lot of people overlook the parents, and the parents are the ones who are typically helping student athletes to make monumental decisions that could have a long lasting impact on their futures. So when, instead of saying, oh, well, I don't know what that means, or maybe you need to go and ask your coach, well, maybe it means educating yourself too around these different variables of entrepreneurship, because your child is essentially walking into entrepreneurism. Okay. Entrepreneurship. They are, like, if they are leveraging their name, image, and likeness, they are an entrepreneur, period. Right. They are creating their own business, because hopefully the idea is that I will be able to monetize, really make some money off of leveraging these assets that I've created around my NIL. So as a parent, you should be in the exact same spaces where you can be with your student athlete, learning from experts who are good at what they do. So you have a way to support your child when they have those questions. And at the very least, have a resource to point them to if you don't know, not just kind of leading them out into, the deep waters without any kind of support. So look, I am super excited about NIL Combine Live 2023. And we've already told y'all, like, this is NIL Combine's second annual event, but essentially it's our third event on NIL, y'all.
Yeah.
When other people were sleeping, we was out here working.
We really were. This is a really great book. And this is like what Sivonnia was saying, that was the first year. That was the first year of the book launch. And and I think, I'm reading it and it's just, you're going to get the value that Sivonnia is saying about protecting yourself as a brand. And she's keeping it real. She's keeping it real now. She's keeping it real here. She's keeping it real in the book. It's a very easy read. You'll get through it very quickly, but there's also resources in there, checklists, also branding. We had Sivonnia put in resources in the back of the book of like who to contact for branding and that kind of thing as well. So definitely want to make sure you pick up that book, read, educate yourself, and find your A team, right? That's who we are. We want to make sure that you're finding your A team and the right fit and getting the information that you need.
That's real. And if y'all didn't get my book, well, let me do like the old people. If y'all have not gotten Athletes Making Moves, you are missing out on so much, because there's so many people out there who are now trying to write NIL books. It ain't nothing close to what I've written. All right. I'm literally dropping gems for y'all around name, image, and likeness. And there are so many resources that are in the back of the book to help you get started. So come on to NIL Combine Live 2023. And I have a special offer for you for the entire week of Juneteenth. You can take 25% off of your ticket price if you're not a student athlete with code June23. But here's the thing, the offer ends at midnight on June 25th. So I would recommend that you go ahead and get your ticket right now. Don't keep waiting, get your ticket right now. Most people lose out because they wait to take action. And when they take action, opportunity is already gone. So one thing I've learned to do is when I know I want something, I do what I need to do and take action because I don't want to live with regrets of not taking action. So if that's you, hey, make sure that you go ahead and register right now at bit.ly/NIL Combine 2023. And again, you can take 25% off of your ticket for the week of Juneteenth with code June23, but make sure your purchase is made before June 25th. It is always my pleasure, y'all. Y'all already know this. It's my pleasure to educate and support you, motivate you to your next level. And until next time, when I bring back another amazing speaker of NIL Combine Speaker Interview Series, I will see you guys later. Ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success because we're all sporting about something.